idea how long we're going. And we're back.
Where's my clap? There it is.
Here we go.
Okay, to start things here, I literally just got this email. I have been in a battle with my escrow company. It's on a rental home. So, kind of the strategy I've been doing is buying the house, living in it for an extended period of time, of course, per the rules, and then renting it and then going to buy a new one. And I've been doing that for several years now. And so this is one of the houses that I lived in for a good while, almost 2 years, and then now the most previous one before the one I'm in now. So even though I've only owned it for 3 years, I've been fighting them to try to get rid of my escrow account and then also my PMI. And so I haven't liked the escrow analysis each year and the way that they kind of overestimate taxes and insurance and then therefore over collect on those escrow accounts. Um, are you still there? Or are you frozen?
I'm still here.
Okay, so I haven't liked how they overestimate on that through the escrow accounts, because it takes away throughout the year, month to month, the spread in my rentals, and it's almost to a point where it's like I'm not making any money on the rental anymore because they're estimating incorrectly. And so I called them out on the escrow analysis. I got a million papers right here on my desk because it's all physical mail. They don't really want to email you much. They don't really want to talk to you on the phone too much. Everybody that
Yeah.
you talk to on the phone, they give me different answers. So I've been doing this probably for a month or so, trying to just remove the escrow account. So good news is if you do a loan with me going forward, if you don't want an escrow account, even at 5% down, I can do that for you. Some people need that escrow account because it does help them budget throughout the year. There are pros and cons. For me, I'm in a little bit different boat, so I really don't want it because I don't want them getting in the way of my income effectively, and then having to wait months and months for a refund. You can talk about that in a second here as far as how insurance goes. So anyway, email I literally just got because I had an appraisal earlier this week. They told me that it might take up to like 3 or 4 weeks. So again, the emails that you get, the communication that they get, you have to push through it when you're talking to these people. And if you need help, I will help you. But you have to keep pushing because what they say is just robot
hmm
noise,
Yeah.
And so the email here is, thank you for your email request to have the PMI on your loan reviewed for cancellation. Your request to cancel has been approved. So over the last couple years, I got to hit OK that we're being recorded. Over the last couple years, obviously, I bought it at a decent time. The market has gone up, and because of that, I used some of the kind of home value estimator tools that I have to be able to guess and make sure that if I did go in and pay for an appraisal, that it wouldn't be just wasted money.
Right.
And it turns out that my tools are right on the money. So we're all set, baby. And if you need, I know you had questions about this, but I've been getting a lot of questions about escrow accounts lately. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of series on escrow accounts. But I've been spending a lot of time over the last 12 months learning about property taxes, specifically in my county, Tarrant County, Texas, Fort Worth County, and then how to fight them. And then, insurance, we talk about a lot, where are the savings at? And then if you do get some savings, well, when do I actually get to see them? Well, because of that escrow analysis, they take so long and you got to deal with multiple different bureaucracies, handing it off to another bureaucracy. And then you finally might get a refund check, or by the time your refund check hits, maybe now you actually have a shortage, they say. And so it's a real pain in the ass, Greg.
No, it is. It's a
And
huge
it's
pain,
and
especially
it's
with
not it's
servicers
not my
changing.
fault. It's not my fault. I'm the mortgage broker, yes, but the escrow companies and the servicing companies are big, big conglomerate, million, billion-dollar style companies that are not associated with me. They deal in a much different realm of the world, even though they're going to tell you they're just like me. They are not.
Yeah, I mean, I deal with people blaming me for their mortgage payments going up. Your insurance goes up five
Yeah,
hundred
Greg,
dollars.
why are you being so greedy?
Yeah, insurance premium goes up, let's say $1,000. That's less than $100 a month. I know the monthly is irrelevant, but their mortgage payment went up $400 a month. I'm like, oh, you just do the simple math. They're taking more than they should. I know that they have to take a little bit more for a reserve, but it's not me and you that's taking the money. So I don't know why people get mad at us. We're here to solve those problems, not
Yeah.
inflate them.
And for somebody out there, if you have a home that you've owned for a couple years now, so that this whole process, not so much the PMI, but the escrow, you can remove it after 2 years of ownership. Now, the PMI is going to be super based on values. Typically, they want you to stay in for a year or two as well. So, for sure, if you've owned a home for a full 2 years or more, and you're not happy where your payments are right now because taxes have gone up, insurance have gone up, or something of that nature, and you originally have PMI or mortgage insurance, private mortgage insurance, um, on your loan because you didn't put 20% down right out of the gates, that's okay. Call me, call Greg. We can help you because there are ways to get things off. You don't have to wait 11 years for the mortgage insurance to drop off. I just waited 2 years.
Yeah, I know that's something I've asked you. We'll probably get into that probably after the holidays of seeing where we sit in values, but I definitely want to get rid of my escrow account sooner than later.
And we have a lot of times people. So I get cold called and everything else by all these wholesale lenders wanting me to broker deals to them, and not always do they have what they say they have. And but we have one of my main lenders. They do have a really good tool that has data that I can search your address and find out. It seems, especially after my personal case, I'm very happy to talk about it and recommend it now because I went through it myself first. But it seems that the numbers are nice, and so we can be pretty conservative on how we run the numbers. And if it hits the loan to value, right, LTV, necessary to drop that private mortgage insurance off, I can be way over 50%. I don't want to say 100%, but like maybe I'm 75% confident that after just running it after 2 minutes, I can tell you if you should do it or not.
Yeah. Well, and then real quick, just for me and also anybody, the 8 people we have watched these videos every week.
Up to
Real,
20, up to
give
20.
me give me like a super super high level explanation as to what PMI is.
Private mortgage insurance is how everyone usually knows it as PMI, but it's also just called MI, mortgage insurance.
Mhm.
So FHA, if you put down 20% down payment, you would think, because most people, and that's a big conversation out there with the marketers right now, is most people are sitting on the sidelines because they're waiting to save up money for a down payment to get to 20%. Because some people think that you actually have to have 20% down to be able to buy a home. That's untrue. You can have 0% down. You could have 3 or 5% down is a lot more common. So if you put down less than 20%, you're going to have private mortgage insurance. So what that is, mortgage insurance, just think of that term. It's kind of explains it for you. It is insurance for the mortgage company that is giving you the money, the lender that is giving you the money. That mortgage insurance is just a little bit of an insurance for them to make sure that the loan is less risky. So because you're putting not that much money down, it becomes a more risky loan. So you don't have as much skin in the game. You could walk away from it. Maybe you don't have the money. That's why you don't put the more money down. So if you don't have the money now, what's saying you might not have the money to make your payment in 6 months? And so they do that, but they tag a little extra insurance on there for them, basically an upcharge for not having the money. But in some cases, totally worth it. If you have $50 to $100 extra a month that you have to pay to not have to save another $30,000 to get into a
Yeah.
home, like I just did, I put 5% down on that house. Now I have 25% or more equity in it just after 2 years. So I was paying almost $90 a month in mortgage insurance happily, and now I just dropped it, and boom, we're off and running. And so
Right.
it's supposed to be a little bit of a risk thing for them. And so, interestingly enough, you might get a better rate by just a tad, if you put down less than 20% because the mortgage insurance is attached. So therefore, the computers, the algorithms, all that of how rates work think that you should get a better loan because we do have mortgage insurance here, so it's less risky for us. So sometimes
Right.
the rates are actually a little bit better. So there's all these different things that go up and down to make rates what they are, credit score, of course, but mortgage insurance also has everything to do with your credit score. So if you have a bad credit score, a low credit score, 500, 600, then your mortgage insurance is going to go up. So
So
if you have excellent
how does
credit,
that
it'll be
happen?
smaller.
Let's say you do miss payments, right? I'm assuming it ends in a foreclosure. That mortgage insurance that they have on that loan, does it pay the bank the value of the loan? What
No,
is their benefit? Or is it just, is mortgage insurance more of a smokescreen term for them to take a little bit more money instead of it being principal and interest? It's their rake, it's their VIG essentially.
yeah, I would say it's their rig, yeah, because
Okay.
it's like playing an Annie at WinStar. You know, you pay 50 cents a dollar to play,
Mm,
and so you might only play $5. You're not going to play $100 hands, but you're still playing, and you could make more money than the ante that you're putting out. But yeah, they
gotcha.
still are going to get their little dollar every time. That's kind of mortgage insurance.
Okay, that I mean that makes sense because I'm sure when people hear the term insurance, they think, oh, if anything happens, the bank is going to get their money for the loan, which I mean they do in a different facet because they foreclose and they'll sell the house.
Yes, but in the
But
meantime, you're not putting a giant piece of in the game, right? You're not putting that much skin in the game. So until you do, we're going to charge you a little bit more.
gotcha. And I think in my brain at least, I don't know if it'll make
Not
sense
we,
for
not
everybody
we.
else.
It's not
In
me.
my
It's not
yeah,
we. I
not
should have
you,
said that.
but in my brain, thinking of it as like the VIG on a sports bet or a casino makes
Yeah.
sense to me. Like, hey, you're really not betting much, so we're going to charge you a little bit more on the front end as pure profit for us, just
Yeah,
in case.
pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah. You're the king of analogies right now. I like that one. I like the gambling one, and then I still like your pool example with insurance.
Yeah, well, if nothing else, we'll have a good bank of analogies on
Yeah.
YouTube to look back when we're 90 years old and think, oh man, we were smart at one
Yeah.
point, but nobody knew it.
And potentially TikTok soon. We'll see.
Yeah, well, no, I appreciate you bringing up the PMI stuff, especially going through it. I went through a roof claim on this house recently, and so I can speak a little bit more firsthand just from my experience, and I think clients relate to that a little bit better. Claims are kind of out of our hand, but I can provide a little bit more insight than otherwise I couldn't a month ago. And it
Yeah.
brings me to kind of a topic I want to touch on with you is value versus cost. Where
Okay.
everything is going up in price, right? You may not have the best rate. I may not have the best rate, but what are you getting from using us or anyone else? Are you looking to save $100, or are you looking for a lender who's willing to answer that phone 2 years from now and help you get rid of PMI and your escrow account?
Yeah. So
Versus,
there's
that tech lender, I won't say a name, but we all know it's an app or it's a website. You don't really know who you're talking to. It's a call center. They
uh,
may not
I'll
provide that assistance.
I'll say one because right now Zillow Home Loans is
Hmm.
trying to really get in the market and they're trying to gain a lot of market share. I went and get Zillow a few years back and they charge an incredible amount of fees. And so sometimes it's like builders lenders, sometimes builders lenders may have the best rate, but it's because they're charging you somewhere else. So look at the pretty thing I'm giving you here. Don't look down here. So I'm going through a deal right now with a builder's lender that is charging a lot on the title side because that title company is the preferred title company of this lender. I don't know if they have ownership or not. I don't think so in this case, but a lot of times they do. And so, um, the contract is like, no, no, no. I never saw it in the contract. It's really tiny language. I checked them
Yeah.
out. I was like, what's this? But they don't pay for any title fees. And so the client is already paying a high fee for this particular company, and now they have to pay both sides of that. So when you
Hmm.
add that up, if I lost to the builder's lender by $1,000 or $2,000 in total cost, maybe I didn't, because
Yeah.
what are those other line items where they are getting that cost back? Especially when you're dealing with production and big time companies that are really doing high volume, they can't give away money because they might be losing money somewhere else in holding costs because they didn't finish the build in enough time. So like they have meetings where they go over the spreadsheets, and when you're buying from them, you're a piece of that spreadsheet.
Hmm.
And so cost and value is, hey, do you have someone who's explaining to you the breakdown of these contracts and fee sheets? And if
Yeah.
so, are they manipulating those fee sheets to get you to buy, or are they really telling you what's up? Because I have no problem telling you after I look at it, I've done it. We've had a couple friends that have bought some nice homes, and I would have loved to get a deal from them because it would have been a nice deal for me. But I look at it, I'm like, nope, you have to go with them. I can't beat that. But when time comes around and they don't know how to refinance you, call me.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's just adding value, right? And then also we talk about it as being localized. Like there's some value in you as a lender and me as an insurance agent, insurance broker being local to Texas. Some regulations, some laws are different, some just the way things are
Uh,
handled. More
in
so on your
Texas,
side, but and insurance as well. And I've got a specific example of a property down in the Houston area. It was a, multi-million dollar purchase by two brothers out of Utah. Their lender was out of Arizona and their insurance got declined the day of closing. And so I had to come in and rescue it. And I
I
spoke with the
just
lender and
I'll
he
interrupt
was
you for
like,
a second. I got to interrupt you for a second. I sent you a direct message showing you a thing on Instagram. Did you see it from the about insurance? It's a
yes.
national podcast guy. He was talking
Hmm.
about California specifically, but obviously Texas is in the conversation as well. Many other states too, because of where you are, all the different insurance factors. But
Exactly.
he was saying like 60 or 70%, some kind of really high percentage of homes that do not close or fall out of contract are because the insurance didn't get through.
Right. And this touches in on that too, because it was a specific area of Texas where it's really difficult to get insurance, especially for the type of property they were buying. It's a rental property, and those have some limitations of what companies like in terms of risk, in terms of coverage that they'll provide. And we needed a certain level of coverage because it's a big home, it's a very valuable home. And I remember speaking to the lender, and he said, I told him, I said, the problem is that it's being rated as coastal and it's hurricane season and it's expensive. And he was like, I don't understand. It's not coastal. It's nowhere near the coast. Well, it's Southwest Houston. If anybody is from Texas or even from the Houston area, that's coastal. Just because you can't see the beach doesn't mean it's not coastal. Um, and they just didn't understand that. And I told them, I said, who did y'all go to first? And they said, well, we went to, X office that we always use. And I'm assuming it wasn't in the state of Texas. And I was like, well, that's why you don't know what's going on. You don't even think that area is coastal when for us, it's been coastal for 25 years. So the understanding and being able to get things done a little bit quicker. And I'm the first to say, well, I don't really work in that area. I can help you. But if I have a contact that is a little bit more versed in that area, let's say it's a different state, I'm more than happy to pass you along to somebody who's going to be a little bit more help. It's at the end of the day, me providing 50% help is not going to help you at all.
Yeah, I want you to call me whenever you have questions related to real estate. I might not
Mhm.
be able to do it and make money from it, and that's okay, as long as I get you the answer so that you can get into what you're trying to get into. That's the idea. And also, by the way, as a broker, especially me now owning my own company, I set things the way I want to set things to compete against the market as it is. And
Mhm.
so if somebody's going to beat me, they're going to have to really come on down because they've got all those in-house departments
Mhm.
that they have to pay. That's
Exactly.
overhead.
Yeah. So
So
I
I
think
don't have the overhead.
yeah, and I think it's an important thing for people to consider as prices have kind of leveled out at where they're at. Obviously, there's going to be some fluctuation here or there, but nobody's seeing the drops that we want in anything, in our world at
It's
least.
Well,
So
months
if
and months ago, they talked about higher for longer, and you just have to adopt that as a mentality. And then if it does come down, you get lucky. But if
yeah,
you write, just like me, I didn't plan on getting rid of MI in 2 years, but I got a little lucky. But it's because I played the game. I have a strategy, luck doesn't, you don't find luck, luck will find you, or whatever they say. Um, as long as you have a path and you stay on that path, you're going to find that you're lucky more than not, because you're pushing yourself right into luck's way.
Yeah. Or as Billy Zane from the Titanic said, you make your own luck.
Same thing. Boom.
But yeah, I think it's important for people to find value rather than price. Like I said, if the difference is $100, $200 for you for the year or for the loan or whatever that proportion may be where you're willing to switch, what are you giving up by switching? Because it's not just price. Some areas you're giving up support altogether. And in my
Well,
world, you're
okay.
giving up coverage and you may not even realize it.
If you're going to the retail store to buy whatever you're going to go buy, or you're going to go, we talked about this earlier because we need to go buy some meat, some protein to make at the house, right, for lunches and dinners and whatever. Where are you going to buy that? There's a three or four different options of grocery stores. Probably two of them you're like, I'm not going to buy meat from that store.
Yeah, exactly. No matter how
It,
cheap it is.
but it is going to be cheaper, but you know that you wouldn't buy that there. So it's, why isn't that the same for something that you're going to have for 5, 10, 30 plus years? Would you buy it from the cheapest place? Do you feel that the cheapest place is going to give you the best service? Like you said, hang in there with you after closing, give you some tips on how to try to help your situation improve, instead of always just kind of go down if property taxes continue to rise and insurance continues to rise. Well, let's look at it from a different standpoint. What else can we find? What about PMI? Are we talking about that? Let me help you. And so, long term for everything is always better. I just got done with a tax and financial advising, like little luncheon thing, and guess what they're talking about? They're talking about the long term as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's so true. I think I was scrolling through social media this morning and it's funny how everything is happening to like the information is being shared today, right? Your PMI, your financial advisor meeting, but it was talking about like deregulation of mortgages and everything, which ultimately fueled the crash in '08. And how for the first time home ownership was seen as a short-term investment rather than a long-term investment because of those deregulations.
Well, and also because of another blip on the radar, those couple of years of COVID and COVID fallout, where
Hmm.
you were seeing 25% returns. So
Yeah.
if you get 25% returns on $300,000, then yeah, you might sell after 2 years.
I would compare it to your gambling journey, which I've seen over the last few years. We used to go to the casino, you'd have $50, you'd win 10, you'd leave there super happy. And then there was one day where you won a ton of money and suddenly you were like, "Oh, this is awesome." You may have had some up days, you may have had some down days, but you've never had that moment again where you were like, "I walked in there with $50 and I left with thousands."
Yeah, and since, because I've tried, you can't chase. Everybody knows you can't chase. My wife all the time is like looking at me funny, like you gotta stop chasing. But we have a friend that we look at funny and tell him to stop chasing.
There's always
Um,
somebody running faster than you after something they'll never catch.
but whatever I would have won that day, if you add up my losses, even if it's a few bucks at a time, each time you might go, all of a sudden I'm even since the day you win some money. So,
Yeah.
like, it's, gambling is not a an investment strategy. So, but that concept still does play to investment strategies. Is um, like my dad, my friend is a financial advisor as well, and he talks to my dad, and the strategy for my dad is stop looking at your account every hour.
Which I'm sure he did a lot.
Yeah, but he's like, oh, I'm down $6 today. Dang it! You're like,
Yeah.
stop.
It's like, but you're up 3 grand this year.
Yeah, look at the thing. The graph is from left to right and up, right? You're sure you go like this, and in the graph, there's, look at the Bitcoin graph.
Yeah.
Okay, boom, it's gonna come back down. But then what they teach you in school, right through the middle, there's your median.
Upward trajectory is the most important part. But yeah,
Bitcoin is
I mean,
nuts.
yeah.
You've been following that?
I don't understand it. I think it'll fail eventually.
They
It's
are
like a hype
saying
thing.
I've been. I'm not an all in Bitcoin guy. I'm a little too conservative in nature, but I bought tiny bits here and there to follow it so I can track and learn. I like to learn about it all. And the people I talk to that really like it, and the people I listen to online that really like it, um, they say it is a finite thing. There is only so much Bitcoin out there, and in the 2030s, all of the Bitcoins will have been mined, and then there will be no more. And they're talking about using it as a strategic reserve, and that America is going to buy some Bitcoin, and like the dollar and currencies fluctuate and go away over time, and this and that. But like they're kind of comparing Bitcoin to gold, that there is a finite amount in the world. Whereas the dollar, as we've seen, if we need a couple more, they sort of just print them or raise the debt ceiling or whatever. So they
Yeah,
they
I
they like
just don't
they
think it's
like
gonna
it
work.
to be determined. But in the meantime, it's a gamble. That's the if you get a little itch, it's sort of like I can't make it today to drive an hour to Windstar. Well, here's $20 on Bitcoin.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, I don't follow it. So my
I have a
opinion
client,
is completely base level of I just think it's like Chuck E. Cheese coins. Like what if one day Chuck E. Cheese was like, you can use these at the gas station? Like, does that suddenly become a world currency?
but you can't say that because
Or like strip club cash. When you take money out of a strip
whatever
club, it's their own cash.
whatever happened to Bitcoin is the Chuck E. Cheese example. That's already been said. You can now use it at the gas station. Literally at gas stations, they have Bitcoin ATMs. So that example, the what if thing, has happened, and so now it is looked at as something, but they're calling it more of an asset rather than a currency, and so it's
That's what I think. Like, if it's a finite thing, like what happens if they're all mined and
well, they're
suddenly
looking
it's
at
like,
I should say it wrong. It's not an asset. They're kind of looking at it almost like a commodity trade.
okay, yeah. Anyway, that's not important
Whatever.
right now. What's important is I need to find out if you watched Rebel Ridge or not.
Oh no, I have not. You have to interrunning that again.
You need to watch it. It's life
I'll
changing.
watch,
It's
and it's on Netflix.
on Netflix.
Okay. Rebel Ridge.
Rebel Ridge.
Okay. Well, tonight we're getting off the rails talking about Bitcoin, but give me your to wrap it up. Give me your prediction as to what happens tonight with Tyson and Paul.
I think there's two routes. It's a decision, which is 100% based on hype. I think if it goes to decision, it's Jake Paul because that's where the money is in the future. Tyson's 60 something years old.
50 easy.
Or Tyson knocks him out because this has always been personal for him, and everybody took it for granted that Tyson can still knock out a Disney character.
I'm I am most interested in seeing Tyson knock him out.
Did you see the slap last night?
Yeah, it was quick.
And everybody was like, "What did he do that for?" And Tyson was like, "He stepped on my toe." And if you watch the replay, it's like as soon as his shoe hits Tyson's toe, he smacks him. Like,
if if he has the killer instinct of old that used to listen to him talk and talk about like how he blanked out and everything else, if that shows up, he's got a real chance.
well, I mean, you've heard him on, I think it was Rogan. He talks about how knocking someone out was a sexual experience for him. He's like I would go dark, and it was like it was
He's different.
incredible.
He's different.
Yeah, I think it's just, and I think it's a lose lose. Like if Tyson gets knocked out, which I think we have
That'd
a
be
better
horrible.
chance of it snowing in Cancun in July. I think
I don't know. I
it's
might.
an easy throwaway to be like, okay, you knocked out a washed up 60-year-old man, you
Well,
know.
it's an exhibition. I mean, this is what you want in an exhibition, right? In Rocky, it
It's
was
actually a sanctioned
Rocky
fight by
versus.
Texas Commission.
Oh my gosh!
It's a legitimate professional fight,
All right,
which
then
is
we'll see
why
what
I think
happens.
Tyson knocks him out. If it's an exhibition, they just go out there and tap each other because it's not
Yeah,
worth it.
Tyson's been training, and they had to cancel it before because of some issue he had, and then whatever. So, all right, to be determined. I can't remember
Yeah,
if last
well,
week we had any predictions, and now we could see if we were right or wrong, but I don't remember.
Football stuff, but I can't remember what we predicted.
I
And
predict the
it's gonna
Cowboys.
be 6-6 in the playoffs for college. Six Big Ten, six SEC teams is what it's gonna end up being.
Well, I predict the Cowboys lose out, get a good draft pick, and then mishandle that draft pick.
They draft Shiloh or Shador,
Yeah, but
and
they
we're
draft
still just as
the wrong
bad.
brother on accident. Yeah.
Yeah, we're still just as yeah, they uh they draft Deion Sanders Jr., who hadn't played football in 6 years. What is it,
All right.
the league episode where he's like, I'll take Keyshawn Johnson. They're like, the commentator?
Yeah. John Madden. Okay, well, good stuff. Good episode. I think there's some nuggets in there. And I will be making some more information about the escrow stuff because I think it is a little eye opening for me how much I had to push to get what I already knew was the case.
Right. Yeah. And I think it'd be good to, obviously, I want to go through that process and have you kind of guide us through it. So we'll have a second set of examples to whether it works
Yep.
or not. We'll let you know, like, oh, 2 years was too soon for us to try to do that.
And coming up to tax season, we got I got a couple guests I'm going to bring on. We're going to talk about how to do your taxes if you're trying to, qualify for a mortgage because you can totally screw that up.
Yeah. 100%. But we'll talk next week and go Tyson.